Hello, I'm Nixakana, and originally I was thinking about just making a tier list ranking the Sims 4 packs on whether or not you should buy them based on their prices. And well, I was kind of starting on that, and then I came to the Star Wars pack. And I kind of want to talk about this one because I think I have a pretty unique perspective on this one. Because technically, I'm in the demographic for this pack, like in the perfect demographic for this pack. But I still hate it so much that I refuse to ever buy it. So let's talk about this. Because I genuinely think that a Star Wars pack could have been pretty awesome for The Sims 4. As we all know by now though, that is not what we got. We got, Okay, let's talk about this. A collaboration between Disney and EA. It could have been so good, so why did it end up like this? Well, the answer is because the chart said so. The chart said that the best results would be if they would aim for a younger audience that mainly plays The Sims and is just getting into the new Star Wars properties, mainly the sequels that were at the time where the Star Wars pack came out, were just in the cinemas, so it was on every child's mind. So according to the chart, they did everything right. They took the demographic that's most interested in The Sims, that has also an interest with the property of Star Wars that is bound to make the most money in a few years, the sequels, and they combined it. Only two problems occurred with that completely ruined the pack. Problem number one is the sequels themselves, because they really suck. Number two is we're talking about Sims players, and most of the Sims players have never even touched Star Wars, nevertheless heard of Star Wars. So you have to introduce them to Star Wars in a very in a charming way. Journey to Batuu is not a charming way to introduce you to Star Wars. It's a slap in the face. You get a phone call that invites you to Batuu, randomly. This is not what you want in your everyday Sims gameplay. A game pack is supposed to add gameplay to your game. This game pack only adds a different game to your game. It is basically a separate world from everything that you usually have. You don't take your simoleons. If you're a vampire, you don't even take your powers. If you're a spellcaster, you don't even take your powers. Nothing. You just basically take your sim and take it into another game. This is not what a game pack is supposed to do. This is also not what anything that is supposed to expand on The Sims 4 is supposed to do. This could have worked as a standalone game, as many game changers have already pointed out at the release date. But I still think that it could have been pretty amazing if they would have done it right. And that's what I want to talk about today. How could Journey to Batuu have been changed to make it a good game pack, while on one hand pleasing Disney and on the other hand pleasing the Sims fans? Not an easy task, but I think I have some ideas on how to do that. So please hear me out before you immediately press the dislike button. First of all, please disregard the background noises. That's just the comment section preparing for battle, because that's what it somehow always does when you start talking about the sequels. I have no idea how it works either, but that's just how it is. If you're watching this, I'm assuming that you're a Sims 4 fan and you don't know that much about Star Wars, so let me explain. The sequels are very controversial among Star Wars fans because there's a lot of people that really hate it, but there's also some people that for some reason like it. As you might have just heard, I'm one of the persons that really hate it for the sole reason that it's a mess. The first movie doesn't line up with the second, and the second movie doesn't line up with the third, and it overall doesn't have a good story that is actually going through all three parts, that actually makes sense, and overall it's not really expanding on the universe that the 6 movies that came before it created. It is just limiting it, and it's really, really sad. I think that the sequels had a lot more potential and they didn't use it enough, and a lot of Star Wars fans feel the same way. They are really displeased by what Disney put out as the sequels. So taking the sequels as the main focus of a game pack for The Sims 4 is in itself a pretty bad idea, especially considering that at the time the game pack was released, they haven't even had finished the saga. So I think on a long shot, this really was a bad decision. At the moment, of course, it was amazing because hype, it's the new thing. But on a long shot, bad marketing decision. Very bad marketing decision. What could have been better? Well, making it more towards The Mandalorian, making it more towards maybe Star Wars The Clone Wars that blew up after that, or maybe just maybe including more than sequels, Journey to Batuu has this one world with 3 places that you can visit. Why not dedicate one to the prequels, one to the original trilogy, and one to the sequels? However you want to make that, Disney. You can milk all 3 in one game pack. Isn't that amazing? And just so we're clear, I think it was a bad idea to do the sequels only because of the great controversy that the fandom has about it, and not because I have a personal dislike for this trilogy. Although I have to say that I was personally very, very sad when I found out that they were only doing that. Like, this was the only chance we ever had as fans of both The Sims and Star Wars to get an amazing pack, and they completely blew it. That's what really makes me sad. I have a dream that one day there will be a Star Wars pack that can be loved by both Simmers and all kinds of Star Wars fans. And I know that this dream might seem impossible now that EA has lost the rights to make video games about Star Wars, but one can dream. One can dream. So how would this dream look like? Well, let me paint you a picture. We would need a pack that would take the inexperienced Simmer by their hand and shows them a new world, a world of Star Wars. How do you do that? Well, not with a phone call. So how about a dream? Your Sim has dreamt of a woman in a white dress. She was beautiful, and she said, "Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope." Your Sim has become very curious as to who she is. Try finding out more using the computer, or maybe visiting your local library. How about that for an introduction? Wouldn't that be so much more charming? But besides having to introduce Star Wars to new players, this pack also needs to be interesting to play with. And yes, the tasks that they have in Batuu are pretty cool and pretty interesting, but there's one very big part missing from the Star Wars universe: the Force. How can you include that? How about a new occult? The Sims 4, compared to the other games, doesn't have that many occults, and a Jedi and a Sith occult would be pretty awesome. Let's face it, it would be pretty awesome to have that in The Sims 4. And I'm honestly really disappointed seeing that in this version of a Star Wars game pack, literally anyone can have a lightsaber. That is not how lightsabers work, and it really makes me sad. And I wish we could have an occult, just a Jedi and or Sith occult. So you, the player, can choose yourself which way the Force is supposed to go. Good side, bad side, maybe no side at all. And all 3 of the trilogies could be perfectly represented using the system of having the Force involved in them. This has so much potential. It could even be an own expansion. It could be an own game, a spin-off game. And I would love to see it. I would love to see Star Wars finally represented well in The Sims 4. And I hope you can see that dream too. Because damn, I would love to have my Sims be a Sith and or a Jedi, depending on my mood.